How do I, how do I explain this one?
I don't know, I got tricked.
This is gonna be a doozy. I was laying in bed last night. I can only fall asleep when I'm on my side, so I was tossing and turning all night. I finally got to that point where I could feel myself about to fall asleep, and then I caught myself. I'm like, oh crap, I'm finally about to fall asleep. It's gonna happen, but that woke me up. And then for whatever reason, you know what flashed in my head? I could die in my sleep and never know it.
What?
I know that's super cynical and a very pessimistic thought, but your heart could stop in the middle of your sleep and that's it, lights out.
How do you segue to a happier part of this video?
Because I woke up with a new lease on life.
You woke up, look.
I know, I'm here.
There you go.
So I decided instead of thinking about something that I wanted to do for the last 6 months, I'm actually just gonna do it. So we made it to the BMW dealership, dealing with all this LA traffic. I pulled in with the G-Wagon, and for whatever reason, they wanted to know if I would sell it. So they're giving me an appraisal really quickly. I think I'm just letting them appraise it just for my own curiosity. Don't plan on selling it, obviously. Dealing with a dealership is always a little bit of a headache if you guys have never experienced it, but I've gone through like 2 car acquisitions this year. So I feel pretty confident in my ability, like I told you guys earlier. But they're inside doing a little bit of paperwork that I think we're gonna hop in the car and go for a quick test drive, check out the car and see what it feels like.
Money come between us. They not even capable to feel us. Yeah. Why don't we just take the stacks and go to pizza? Yeah. That way you could lean away with all the people. Yeah. Oh my God, looking at my squad, they be acting bougie, like I'm a rookie. Looking at me like,
all right. It's automatic, right?
Correct.
All right. It's got 16 miles on it, so I don't want to hit the gas too much.
No, feel
I can fill it out.
Feel it out. Nice, huh?
Yeah, it feels really good. I really wanted to feel out the transmission. I've had that E92 for 3 years. It's a 2010, and it was like the first like sports car that I bought.
Right.
And I've heard nothing but good things about the M2.
Right.
So I just
think wonderful car.
Jenna, this is the fun part. I don't think it is that funny either. The test drive felt really good though. It's different going from a V8 to a 3-liter V6. It has about 365 horsepower, if I'm not mistaken. It felt good. It was very responsive. BMWs have the best transmissions. Obviously, I don't drive manual. I've never drove stick. So all of you car enthusiasts, you guys can give me a hard time for that, but I never learned. But it felt really good.
Steak. They have spaghetti.
The M4 GTS, it's got the carbon fiber spoiler on the back. Matt over there just told me it's going for $199,000.
Yep.
My God.
Door's open.
Yeah, it's unlocked. It's got the felt interior. Oh. It's got that new car smell. I love the emblem ingrained into the interior. It's got the cage in the back. Wonder what's the 0 to 60 on this? Do you know? 3.6 seconds. This car is ridiculous. I like the bucket seats. Can only get these wheels on the GTS. It's got the carbon fiber on the bottom. And then I didn't even notice it until I just looked up, but the entire roof is carbon fiber too. Sticker he just told me was 137, but there's only 700 made. There's not a lot in population, so. And I love the touch because they parked the M2, the car that I test drove, right next to the Mercedes. I like that. Car salesmen, they're so good at what they do. Okay guys, so that didn't pan out the way that I thought it would. I went in there pretty confident that I'd be able to get the price that I wanted and the price that I was selling my M3 for and get a nice lease. It's the #1 thing to remember about buying a car, and this is very important. Never be afraid to walk away. Do not go in there hell bent on buying a car, because that's how car salesmen get you.
goddamn, I'm on a cruise ship. I do whatever that I want. Better understand, cause I don't know where I should start. Level out the for, cause yeah, I'm finna start. You don't even know, but baby, that's just how we are. That's just how we are now.
So after dealing with car salesmen, I have worked up quite the appetite. Jenna and I stopped in on a local Italian spot near the car dealership that we were at. It's a really big menu, it looks good. My man pouring some bottled water for us. Thank you, I appreciate it, bro.
Sir?
This place is nice. So I know I'm being a little biased, but the Mercedes actually looks pretty dope in the nighttime. I'm serious, it looks pretty sick. With the high beams on and everything, not as bad. All right, guys, it's about 1 o'clock in the morning and I want to go to bed here soon, but really quickly I wanted to turn the camera on and talk to you guys about today because I'm sure a lot of you guys were surprised when you watched today's video and you saw that I was buying a new car. So I think you guys need to understand my situation a little better to understand the situation I'm in today. So I bought my 2010 BMW about 3 or 4 years ago, and then I've had the G-Wagon since last January. I own both of my cars outright. I don't owe any banks any money. I don't have any loans out. They are both in my possession. I have the titles for them. I own them. And so this plan to sell the M3, you guys have seen me talk about it in quite a few videos over the last couple months. It's finally coming to fruition. I'm gonna be shipping the car out on Friday. But I've been planning to do this since January when I actually bought the G-Wagon. So it's honestly just like a very funny coincidence that it's all lining up at the same time. We've had this entire G-Wagon debacle going down on this channel, this huge storyline that's been unraveling in front of all of our eyes. And for this new car that I want, I wouldn't be buying it. I would actually be leasing a vehicle for the first time. Now, there are a lot of pros and cons to leasing versus buying and buying versus leasing. I'm not going to get into that in this video. If you guys want to know more about it, you can go online and there's tons of resources where you can look and research and find out what's better for your situation. For me personally, getting a new car every 2 or 3 years is something that is very sensible. I won't have to go through the hassle of trying to sell a car privately. I won't have to deal with a dealership and train a car in because they absolutely destroy you on the resale price. It's just a headache that I don't want to have to deal with. And so that's why I've decided to lease a new car. Now, with that being explained to you guys, I want to talk to you guys about my experience at the dealership today. So I walked in the front door after talking to a salesman on the phone earlier in the day, and he saw my G-Wagon parked out front, and he asked me if I wanted to get it appraised, if I'd be interested in trading it in with them. And for my own curiosity, I was like, sure, it's not going to take any work for me. Here's the keys, here's my registration, tell me what you would give me for the car. I didn't plan on selling it, but I might as well hear what they had to say. Long story short, we get back from the test drive. I talked to a bunch of the salesmen while they were running numbers, trying to get a better idea of what they were going to offer me. And so they sit on down and they show me their offer for the appraisal of the G-Wagon. And I'll be honest with you guys, I mean, you know how much a G-Wagon costs. It's public information. They offered me $95,000 for a car that's only a year old. They pretty much devalued my car by $60,000, even though it only had 7,000 miles on it. And right there and then I looked him in the eye. I'm like, no shot, man. You're not even in the ballpark for me. And it was just, I know what they were doing. Like, it makes sense. It's their job to try and get the most money for the dealership itself, but I didn't even entertain it. I told them, let's just talk about the BMW that I was interested in leasing. So you guys saw me drive the car, so there's no reason for me not to talk about it. I'm interested in getting a BMW M2. It's a 2017, and it would basically just replace the M3 that I have right now. They're very, very similar. The M3 that I have is a V8. This one is a 3-liter V6, if I'm not mistaken. I know how the BMWs drive. I love the transmission. I love the car itself. Now, of course, I don't drive manual, but the thing drove like a dream and I absolutely loved it. So we get past the G-Wagon offer that they gave me and we get down to brass tacks with the BMW, the M2. What are you gonna offer me for a leasing package? Now, really quickly, we're gonna talk about money again. And I'm just asking you guys to be as mature as you can because you have known me for a pretty long time. You know where I came from. You know how I've gotten to where I am. So I'm selling my 2010 BMW M3 for around $30,000. So the plan was the $30,000 that I get for the M3 that I'm selling, that would pretty much be in the ballpark of what I would have to pay in total over the course of 3 years for this M2 that I wanted to lease. And essentially the idea of selling my M3, taking that money, and using that for most of the M2 kind of went out the window as soon as we started talking about money. The guys at the dealership were basically asking me to pay around 70% of the car in total over 3 years, which is pretty unprecedented for a lease. And I know that's what car salesmen are supposed supposed to do. He's trying to sell me this car for as much money as he can because that's what gets him paid better. And that's his job as a salesman. So I totally understand that. I wasn't insulted. But for me, the number that they were asking was just completely out of the ballpark. I don't have the most experience with leases, but like I said, they were asking me for a really big down payment and then wanted me to pay in total over the course of 3 years, 70% of the MSRP of the car. So with that, I basically stood up, shook their hand. I said, thanks for taking the time to show me around the dealership. Thank you for letting me test drive the car. And if anything changes, they can come down on the price. Feel free to give me a call. That's the entire story. And that's why I was telling you guys earlier today, never be afraid to walk away. This video is not going to be a tutorial or a step-by-step guide on how to purchase a car because I'm not an expert, but I thought this would be a pretty good experience to share with you guys and to explain to you what happened. I'm not afraid to talk to you guys about money. I've been pretty open with you guys over the last 6 years, so that's really where I stand. I think the plan now is just to cool out, check a couple different dealerships in the area, go in, meet some people, and hopefully they can give me a better lease than what this dealership was offering me. We'll find out though. No new car today, but that's all right. We're gonna be patient with this one. I've already got an incredible vehicle sitting in my garage, here in my garage. I'm gonna have to decide whether I wanna get it rewrapped or not. We'll talk about that later in one of these vlogs, but thanks for taking the time to listen to me, guys.